Well, let's get him. He's from Team Souk. It's Jordan Robinson. There you go, Jordan. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, as always.
How do I get a radio voice like yours?
I don't know.
Do you practice in the mirror?
I really don't.
Oh, wow.
Well, the problem for me, if you talk to those two, is I always have the radio voice on, so.
I see. Makes sense.
All right, there's one name up here I really hope. Oh, there it is. So wanted Isaac to be this person. Danica Patrick.
Is it me?
It's you.
Oh, it's me.
There we go. With the flowing locks and everything. Danica grew. All right, here we go, Jordan. 2 minutes on the clock.
Good evening. Welcome back to 1080 The Fan. Jordan Robinson here interviewing Danica Patrick. Now, the question that I think a lot of people wonder with you is, how do you manage that line of sexism when it comes to a sport that is so predominantly male-driven, so to speak?
What line?
Well, it would be the line of where people consider racers to be predominantly, you know, a male-driven sport, and when you are in pole position with all of them, how do you respond to the criticism that you get a lot of your fame predominantly from just being the opposite gender?
Well, I would disagree. I don't think I get a lot of fame just because I'm the opposite gender. I think I get a lot of fame because I'm a good racer, I'm a good driver, and I think I'm just as good and just as tough as a lot of these guys out here.
I would absolutely agree with that, Danica, and I support you 100% in that.
Thank you.
So in retrospect to that, though, one tough question would be is, what is it that makes you or that drives you to pick the position of a lot of these commercials that are predominantly driven by your appeal to that same audience?
So you're talking about my ads, like GoDaddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of opportunities, and I'm a person who is a lot of people want to hear from. I have a voice, and I feel like, you know, as a woman, I've got sexuality to promote, but I've also got my racing to promote, and I'm good at that too. And I think I have a lot to offer, and there's a lot of different people that have given me opportunities, and I don't have a problem, and I don't think people should have a problem with me taking any of those opportunities.
And neither do I. I absolutely support anyone pursuing something that they love. And speaking of pursuing something that you love and taking advantage of those opportunities, as you mentioned, what about NASCAR that a lot of people aren't fans of it would you want them to know to gain more viewership and really experience how tough it is to be a NASCAR driver that a lot of people don't know?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's really tough out there. There's a lot that goes on that people don't know. I think NASCAR has done a really good job recently of getting cameras in cars and hearing the audio of me talking to my pit crew and stuff, but I think they need to do more of that because you're right. I don't think they show enough of what we go through out there.
Thank you. Danica Patrick here on 1080 The Fan.
Well done, Jordan.
I didn't even think she was going to be on that board.
That's the beauty of the interview and the wheel. Souk, how do you think Jordan did there?
I thought I got better at the end. The beginning was awkward, and it's the same thing with Belichick. When you get someone like this, and it's actually easier to interview someone that's obviously local, but you get a national figure like that, you can't go for the layup. I mean, the sexism question, she gets asked that 1,000 times. So I thought when you kind of, I know that's the first thing that jumps out at you, but, you know, whether it's this or whether you actually end up getting a show, sometimes the first question that pops into your mind when you're thinking about asking it, that isn't the one that you should probably ask. I mean, it's one thing if you're on a national show, if she's on 60 Minutes, to go down that, but you're a local radio show in Portland, I just think you're setting yourself up for failure, and you kind of got stuck there in no man's land, and it kind of killed the first part of it. And then when you got around to the second half and you got away from it, then that was good. I would have liked to have seen the second half of that interview be the whole one, and I thought that would have gone a little smoother.
All right, let's see what the judges think. Rashad.
Man, yeah, it was rough to start, but I mean, it's hot NASCAR talk. I mean, how many of us actually really spend a lot of time looking and discussing
Not
NASCAR with our friends. So I thought some of the questions you asked, like you said, on a big national stage would have been much better. But because we're not necessarily a NASCAR state, maybe asking some fun questions or something like that just to get to know Danica Patrick, because there are a lot of people who have no idea how good she is or is not out there on the NASCAR track.
Dusty?
I look at, first of all, Mike, back in the studio, please mark that entire segment of Rob speaking as Danica Patrick. But what I'm looking at when going through this, I don't know if you know anything about Danica Patrick. The only thing that I'm looking at is if your questions are kind of fluid and get to the point quickly. And I thought at the beginning you were kind of stumbling, trying to figure out what the hell you were going to do. But at the end, I agree. As the interview went on, you started picking up steam, and it got a lot better at the end.
And Ryan Cooley.
Yeah, those last two were both really tough. I think Belichick, Danica Patrick. Jordan, I've always been a big fan of yours. I think you've done a great job. I think this round's a little clunky. It wasn't as good as what I've seen from you, but I don't think that was anything you can't bounce back from in the next round. So we'll see what you got next.
Thank you, Jordan. Well done.